Welcome back to the Nullify Take, where we've got the TNT takes for you on the Challenge All-Stars Episode 6. I'm joined, also streaming live here today, on Chantel's channel, Reality Realness. Chantel, how are you doing today?
I'm so happy to be talking to you guys about this episode. I loved this episode. There's so many unexpected things that happened this episode from on my end that I can't wait to share with you guys, and you probably had the similar feelings. So I'm in good spirits. This was a busy week. We could tell that summer's coming, like lots is going on, and I like this momentum. I think it's super fun. So I'm happy to talk about this with you guys. I can't wait to hear your thoughts about this episode.
Very exciting week for all things Challenge. Now, here's a man who works endlessly, on his channel to bring us all the latest Challenge content. Drew from the Angel Cake Entertainment channel. Drew, how are you today?
I am tired. I'm not gonna lie. I think my schedule is finally catching up to me, and I just feel like I'm like falling behind at every single point. But I'm having a good time covering everything. And this is a nice pick-me-up from my afternoon when I went to go see Jurassic World Dominion. And boy, was that a stinker. But this episode in our chat is going to liven me up.
Well, that's the thing, a lot of the times when you do the video content and you're doing these short forms, you obviously get a lot of people leaving comments in your chat, but you don't get the energy from the live like you do in these live streams. And we've got a bunch of people here already in the live that have jumped in. Dolores, welcome to the live as always. Baby Ice, yes, finally the Naya pick did pay off for me. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It was the long game. Amber, how are you? King Butler, everybody that's in the live, George Vlogs, thank you so much for being here with us today as we talk about this episode here, episode 6. And we start off very early on, seeing MJ still struggling with that knee. He's got it in a brace. We've got people, Brad specifically, taking shots at MJ, saying that he thinks he's playing it up for the camera and he's probably not as bad as he thinks he is. And he's playing a scared game. And I found it pretty funny that came from Brad, Drew, because I feel like Brad sometimes plays a scared game, but this season he can play that scared game because he's winning consistently.
Brad made me roll my eyes at every single point he made because everything he said about MJ, he could point back at himself. He'll say whatever he can to keep himself out of elimination. What did he do last episode? But run to Mark and Wes, be like, I don't want to get picked by MJ. Somebody help me. And then Wes went into the elimination for him. So it's like, Brad, come on now. Seriously, like you're feeling good now that you didn't go into elimination, so you're trying to take pop shots at MJ, but don't turn the eye to what you're doing or whatever the phrases are. I guess
I don't even know what that phrase is. What is that phrase?
I don't know. I
don't even recognize it.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing. Maybe I'm just making it up myself.
I don't think it's a phrase. Is it like when you point your finger at somebody? There's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Is that one?
That's a much better one. Yeah. That's a much better one.
That makes sense as well, actually. Yeah, write it down next time, Drew, for your next video.
No, I can't do it.
Speaking of MJ. I don't know what it is, but I'm definitely not a fan of him this season. And so even though I was like rolling my eyes with you, Drew, when Brad was talking about MJ and his knee, and he's like so scared to go in, all that stuff, but I was still like, I'm not a fan of him this season. Do you guys have any idea what happened to make me anyways not be rooting for him? And like I was actively rooting him later on in this episode against him.
I don't know. Like for me, I was neutral on him. I wasn't disliking him. I wasn't necessarily liking him this season. Maybe it's still a little bit of that subconscious bias because of how they won last season and people not wanting him to win another season or not fully being behind the MJ and Janae, I guess, team at this point. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel... I kind of felt neutral on him, to be honest. And
still,
to some degree, yeah, I think to some degree, looking like he hasn't done anything for me that have upset me this season where I'm like, you're just a horrible person. I can't shout for you in the future. I just think he came in with a massive target this season. People are always going to take a stab at him as the latest champion coming into this season. Yes, had that same target as an All-Stars champion as well this season. And he just never got in with anyone and was targeted week in and week out. He got thrown in. He came back with a bum knee. I'd like to see him come back. I'd like to see him come back with being fully capable in the future.
Sorry,
I was like, nah.
No, look at Drew's face.
I mean, Can we really say you didn't like anything? Like, can we say that you didn't like that? Yeah, or whatever he does. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, I can't do anything today. I'm a mess. I hate that. That was so annoying. And everybody gave him a 21 salute on his way out the door.
Thank you, Drew, for that.
What was the whole thing? He's like, it's personal for him with Brad, and then when he's walking away, he's telling Brad, it's not personal, don't worry, like to his face. I found that to be funny because it's like definitely personal for him if he was to come back in the future. Well, I guess, a big part of the opening scene is just that, and then they obviously also had here in this episode Kellyanne getting a call from home, talking to her hubby.
So nervous.
Yeah, so definitely we knew something was brewing. Obviously for me, having Kellyanne as one of the 2 female picks and one of 3 people left in my team, I was getting a bit nervous that something might happen here. She might get into an elimination or something like that. But we hear, a little bit back from home. We know that the storyline is going to unfold in a way where she's going to play a massive role here this episode. What did you guys think of learning a little bit more about Kellyanne's personal life outside of the game, and how big of a role, I guess, she played as a whole here this episode?
Well, I always know that when the Skype call happens, that it's either they're going home or going in and staying, but it's going to be focused around them this episode. And a lot of the times the person goes home. And so I saw this, and we got the little clip from last episode, like of what's going to come this episode. And you see that she fumbles or something happens where she kind of freaks out at a puzzle. And so we're kind of like, we're kind of deciding what we think the producers are doing here. And we're like, does that mean that she's not going to go and she's going to stay? So I was kind of like, all these things were going through my mind. I'm like, what did all this information mean? Does this mean that she is going to actually go in and win? I'm like, I'm going to go that route because I cannot have the treehouse gain any more momentum. I can't have it. I do not like enough people in the treehouse for me to want that to be sustainable. So it's all on you, Kellyanne. And I was calling on my channel. I was saying, like, Kellyanne needs to save the palace. Like, save the palace, Kellyanne, please.
See, I was the opposite. When I saw her in the Skype call so early on in the episode, I would have bet maybe $5 because I don't have a ton of money. But I would bet like some form of money that she was going to go into the elimination, knowing how big of a target she is, knowing how the treehouse has dominated getting into the authority so much of the season. And we saw like Mark when he got the call early on in his episode that he went into the elimination against Latarian. I just kept on thinking, okay, I know that she fumbles with the puzzle. I'll bet anything that she's going into the elimination. And then lo and behold, I got totally flip-flopped because that did not happen. And I'm happy that it didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, Brad's got the, lumberjack look to him, but the real lumberjack of this episode was Kellyanne taking the axe to the treehouse and bringing it down. And I think that
I've even waiting all week to say this.
Maybe I practice a few times in the mirror. Don't give my game plan away. We want to make it sound like it's organic here on the live. Okay, Chantel? Always throwing shade my way. Just say yes. That is what happened, Chris. But no, like it was fun to watch. Everything come together. We've seen the treehouse be very dominant this season, and I do want to definitely talk a little bit about some of Sylvia this season, how she did, kind of where everything leaves off with her leaving the game and everything, but we'll get into that a little bit later on, because firstly we're going to move into the daily challenge. What did you guys think of the daily challenge where they had to run up to a board where they had to scratch off I guess whatever was on it to get a code? Then they use that code to unlock paddle boards so they can paddle out, get puzzle pieces, and come back and do a puzzle. To me, this is kind of one of those challenges where it's almost like a little mini final because it's got like a little bit of everything in it. Did you guys like this daily? For me, it was probably one of the more fun dailies, and I thought that it required a lot more skill compared to a lot of what we've seen so far this season.
I definitely liked this daily. I agree with you. I was thinking like, it's kind of like a mini final. Like obviously not nearly as intense as a final is going to be, but I like that it had different checkpoints, different elements. It tested different things. You could be good at one thing, but maybe not good at the other thing. Like, okay, whatever. You could be good at scratching, maybe not, but like apparently you need to be good at opening locks and putting numbers in the right order. So that is a skill that some people had that others didn't. Paddleboarding, not everybody's going to be a good paddleboarder. board, or not everybody's going to be able to put a puzzle together. So I like that there was a lot of elements where people's strengths could come to hand to help them out win. And so I will always like challenges that are multifaceted like that.
Yeah, definitely. The multi-phase, the purging at every single phase was really fun to see. I mean, we saw Naya be able to get that luck of just like scratching twice, and then her number was right where she scratched. So she ran over to her board, and then lo and behold, she gets purged because she's not as skilled in a different phase. So I thought that was really fun that you could get tested. People are going to drop as the game went on. And then the puzzle, I always like that puzzle on Survivor. So I like that they brought it into the challenge. And yeah, it was just really, really fun. It was a really fun daily, especially compared to, what was it? Was it last episode's elimination?
Yeah, that's
where,
one was
or daily challenge where it's sabotaging and everybody just worked together. There was no working together on this one. So I really enjoyed that everybody had to do it. And it was just really, really fun. I really enjoyed this whole episode together, but more specifically this daily challenge. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So the sabotage does get used here, and it gets thrown onto Janae, of all people.
What
here.
Did you bad move? Like,
yeah, I was going to ask you, what did you think of that?
I mean, I understand in the moment being like, okay, like, you know, I see that Kellyanne is probably not going to do well at the puzzle. So like, I see what the mentality went behind making that decision. But she already had her game plan, and that was to take out Kellyanne because it was most important for Kellyanne not to win. And I think that she should have stuck with that because of well, obviously we know because of the outcome, but like if she wanted to, like, she's going to make somebody else mad. Kellyanne already knows you're coming for her. Why are you going to put it on Janae, who kind of thinks you're working with her a little bit? Now Janae's going to be pissed off at you for doing that and not even like giving her the heads up about it, or letting her know that she's going to be a possibility of getting sabotaged. So I just think that it burned a lot of her social capital with Janae. So if Janae was able to overcome it and win, she wouldn't have any reason to be nice to Sylvia. If Kellyanne won, she would still not have any reason to be nice to Sylvia. And so I just think that she burned an extra bridge for absolutely no reason. And we learned it's actually for the wrong reason. Like she burned a bridge and she paid for it right away.
Yeah. I mean, we look into Sylvia's indecisiveness and flip-flopping in her mind twice this episode, and both times came to her demise. I mean, we talked about the Amazing Race. You never switch tasks. You never try to like figure it out. Like, you can't second guess yourself. And that's what Sylvia did twice. And I think she did twice right before heading into the actual task and challenges, which can screw up her mind. I mean, she got last place in the daily challenge, and then she lost in the elimination because she was just switching and flip-flopping too much. She was too much in her own head at that point. It's like, you got to pick it and just go. And yeah, I agree with you, Chantel. She should have just stuck with her initial gut or initial game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot of assumptions made here, this specific episode. Like Esther here says, Sylvia fumbled the bag, never assumed that someone will repeat the same mistake. And throughout this episode, that was a theme where people assumed certain people were going to struggle at puzzles, and they were making picks based on that only. And you know, I look at what Janae did here this episode as really impressive, because even though she had to do that board twice to get two different combinations, I believe that was the sabotage, she still ended up somehow in the top three. She still ended up making it all the way to the end. So you have to wonder what would have happened if she wasn't sabotaged. She probably would have ended up winning. And if Janae did win this, would this have been a good one for her to win? Because she would have had to choose between, I guess, the females that are outside of the treehouse and then the treehouse itself. And I kind of feel like Janae is someone that always wants to be with the numbers. So there would have been a high likelihood she would have worked with the treehouse. So I think from an entertainment standpoint, the best thing possible happened here for us this episode. So I'm actually kind of relieved Sylvia did us a solid as the fans to give Janae the sabotage. And also MJ would have probably been saved in this episode as well. So I think it worked out for the best the way it did. And also those paddle boards, by the way, I've been on them a few times. It is a hell of a workout on your core when you're on that thing. So no shade to Naya. If you've never been on that, like, believe me, the first couple of times I tried to be on that thing, I was all over the place. I was falling into the water, and I'm reasonably fit, you know. So I think if you look at it that way, it is really a skill thing, and it just played into Kellyanne's wheelhouse, because she's got one at home. She does this for fun, so obviously she was going to dominate that section of the challenge. But where she really, really impressed me was when they were putting that puzzle together, which is a Survivor puzzle for those people that watch both shows, it was really cool to see it in this season of being used. She stayed calm even when she lost everything. Everybody expected her to freak out. She stayed calm. And one of the big things for her, I think, this season has been she's felt like no one's had her back. So I wonder how much the encouragement that she got from Wes played into her staying calm here. At least there was someone on the sidelines who wanted her to win this, and she kind of stayed in her zen, if that makes sense. Did you guys like the support that you saw here between Wes and Kellyanne, and the respect that is there between them?
Yes, absolutely. I might have mentioned it last episode or the week before, I'm not sure, that I wanted Kellyanne and Wes to rekindle something and start helping each other do better in this game. And so I was really happy that Wes was like, yeah, she's my girlfriend from 10 years ago, but I want her to win this one. And I like the fact that she was, because sometimes she's a little bit defiant and she doesn't like to hear things from like Wes and doesn't want the other people's opinion. Like sometimes she doesn't like to listen. And so it was nice that she was allowing herself to calm down. She learned from her mistake with the star puzzle and realized that when she freaks out, it doesn't make the puzzle get made faster. And she came back and I was shocked. I thought that she was going to lose it in the end to Ronnie. So Ronnie was in the final three. So Ronnie, Janae, and Kellyanne. And poor Ronnie, she just did not see one piece that was on the board still, that she was trying to figure it out, and she just didn't see it. And it allowed for Kellyanne to rebuild after it all tumbles down and take the win. I was screaming. Like, Sylvia would have been so mad at me for how much I was screaming for Kellyanne to win that daily. I was loud. Like, I was so happy for her.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, agreed to all those points, but I want to throw it out there that the Treehouse fumbled the bag entirely this episode. I mean, we had Sylvia with the sabotage. Veronica was second to her paddle, was the second person to her paddle. She had her 4-digit code right after Naya and could not put it into a lock. I mean, it only goes one way or the other. Like, how hard is it to put 4 digits into a number lock? And then you had Ronnie missing her one puzzle piece. I mean, it's impressive how much she didn't look down. And not even once, not even once in this whole time.
Periphery, like I see like a bug on the ground, and I'm like, and I can see that. Oh, it was a bug. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know how she could not see a big puzzle piece. That's like, if I was looking to like see, is it level? Like, I would see this puzzle piece. Like, I need to hear an interview from her to see why she didn't see it, or like how she didn't see it.
Or it's the treehouse not shouting out like, hey, you're missing a piece. Because we heard from, like, they kept everybody far away for a decent far away, but you could still hear Jordan telling Kellyanne, like, your level isn't leveled, like, you need to switch out a block or something. So I mean, they could still see it. I just don't know if being in the middle like obstructed other people's views from Ronnie, because she was in the middle. Kellyanne was over onto the side closest to the audience.
Oh, no, I thought she was on the Ronnie was
in the middle. John A was on the far. And then Kellyanne was closest to the crowd.
I thought the Janae was in the middle. Interesting.
Adrienne here's got a good point. She said, I rolled my eyes a little when Veronica said Ronnie has to win things so that the other ladies of the treehouse need to stop making decisions for her, but the ladies have been winning over her. So yeah, it's interesting because obviously they've been winning a lot of the times, but she felt like Ronnie needed to pull it out this time around. I do want to move on to the guys though in this specific challenge. We've got MJ who volunteers to get a sabotage. Apparently he's using the excuse that, you know, he wants to save his knee or something stupid like that, but never a good thing to put your hand up to be sabotaged or anything like that, especially if you're MJ, you don't have alliance members. But I think he probably knew it would have come his way. Mark, you know, asking people who wants to volunteer, Jordan outright laughing at him because of that. You know, I was kind of laughing with Jordan as well. Like, I was thinking to myself, who's stupid enough? And then MJ put up his hand and said, yeah, I'm the stupid one. I'll take the sabotage. But
you make him say it. Make him say it. Make him say who he wants to sabotage. Don't give him an out. And he did. He gave him an out. So that was dumb. That was just a dumb, in my opinion. I just wanted to throw that out there. That was so
no, I agree.
Like, do you think that if Brad had the sabotage, and he'd said the same thing, if MJ would have volunteered like that?
No, he would never have. Do you think so? You think he would have done for Brad? Like, I would have been like, no, Brad, you say my name. You say my name.
No, I think
MJ's got a little bit of pity in him.
I think he would have tried to take that decision away from Brad, kind of thing. Like, come on, just throw it on me. I already know, kind of thing. So I don't know why he did that. He was just dumb. He was an idiot. And like, Johnny can't even be mad at Mark for giving it to MJ now, like because MJ asked for it. So yeah, it was just dumb. Even if you expect it, you make the person say it. Make the person call you out. Make him show his cards. You gave him an out. That was so dumb.
The most fun part for me of the men's one was the true ride or dies of this season. Nehemiah and Wes spending some quality time out on the water together, having the greatest of times, out there. It's so cool to see their friendship on the show.
Please tell me you have the soundbite. I need to hear that song. Don't have
it. But I've got you. Who needs a soundbite when you've got Chantel on the live?
Yeah, right? Thank you. I'm not going to try it because I'll just mess it up.
Yeah, definitely. You guys don't want me to sing, that's for sure. But it was a fun little moment there.
And it was so long. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it, but like it kept like going and going. It was like a minute or like two. It was a long segment, which I thought was hilarious. Like
the biggest bromance of the season. Biggest bromance, Brad is third wheel once again, but he did really well in this challenge. Dominated it from the beginning to the end. Wins another daily. I mean, Drew, how many dailies have he won now? Like, I mean, this guy is running away with it. The one season you don't have him in your team, I feel like is the season that everything is pointing towards Brad just steamrolling the competition and winning this season at the moment. Like, he's dominating.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's doing a really good job, way better than I thought he was going to do, because I thought Jody was the secret sauce to his duo-ship and winning so much last season, because she was winning before they were partnered up. But Brad is just absolutely dominating, both physically and mentally. So it's very, very impressive what he's been able to do. And yeah, it sucks not having his beard, even though he really pissed me off earlier this episode and last episode. But I still would like his beard on my team.
You can't have everybody on your team.
I thought you were gonna say you'd still like his beard on your face.
Whoa,
it is an impressive beard.
I'm growing it. Oh
my God, for Halloween, please go with Brad.
Let's have a look here at this live. Becca saying, on Mark's podcast yesterday, MJ said he took the sabotage because he knew he couldn't win. He didn't want Jordan to get the sabotage because Jordan was his only hope to be safe. If that's the case, that's pretty smart, because you don't want, if he knew he wasn't going to win, he's got a knee problem, he was going to struggle to keep up with everybody through the run and everything, then Jordan is a good bet to go to the end and potentially win this. Why not make sure that he's got the best chance possible to win? Jordan
wouldn't have called him out? Or whoever like Jordan would have called out wouldn't have called MJ out. Like, it's still
That's what I was thinking. It's whoever gets voted in would call out MJ, I'm sure. I mean, no matter if it's a puzzle or physical, I mean, they're gonna take MJ because he's lower right now, lower on the ranks, and everybody else is friends with everybody else pretty much at this point. Besides
Jordan's not available. Yeah.
I was just going to say, Jordan's probably like the one person who doesn't care who he calls down. Like, he's the one person that would do whatever 100%. The hell he wants to do. So it makes sense. I think that's not, if that's the strategy, obviously we only get to see an edited show and we can only respond to what we actually see play out on our screens. But that seems like a very sound bit of.
Wouldn't you not want Jordan to win? Right? Because if Jordan doesn't win, then there's a likelihood that Jordan would be thrown down. And so you think that he doesn't think that Jordan would call him out? You think that Jordan would call out Wes? Okay, I see.
Yeah, I think Jordan would have called someone else out. I think Jordan calls out whoever he wants to call out. I don't think Jordan cares. I don't think Wes is the person. Personally, I don't know if he calls out Wes, because I've got a feeling him and Wes have got
maybe
something going on. Like they're working together to a certain degree. Or I think Jordan thinks he's working with Wes. Wes is just using him at this stage, and will dispose of him at the right time, because we know West don't want to run a final against Jordan. No one wants to run a final against Jordan. So while we're talking about Jordan, Jordan and Naya, both being thrown into eliminations. Naya ended up winning this one, and Jordan like shouting it on from the side, and we'll talk about this a little bit more. I got flashbacks to that season where Jordan and Tori were just getting thrown in week in and week out, and they just kept winning and going all the way to the finals. I kind of got flashbacks. Like, when Jordan has your back, he has your back, in the game, especially in this case, Naya is in that Tory role. So it's a bit of deja vu playing out. But one of the things we find out from this daily challenge is that there is one last sabotage that is going to be used. We're only in episode 6 here. What does that mean going forward? Like, how many rounds do you guys think we've still got left? We had the double episode early on, I guess, in the season. Does that mean we're going to have 9 episodes in total, or are we still going to have 10 episodes? Like, I kind of feel like I'm a bit lost because they're saying we're getting close to the end, and I was like, well, we're only episode 6 at this stage. I feel like there's a few more episodes to come.
I wouldn't be surprised if like next time is the last time for the sabotage, and then we find out the uses of these stars for maybe an episode or two, and then go into the finals. So maybe it has to do with some sort of purge. I don't know, but I still think that they'll go to 10 episodes.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll go to 10 episodes, even if they start splitting episodes and maybe giving us more content, and then saving one elimination battle for the next episode, or the next episode, or anything, like splitting up into 2 parts. I can see them doing. I think that they're going to do probably a 2-part final where it's at least 10 minutes of the final is going to be run, and then the next episode would be the finishing. So I think that we'll still get 10 episodes. I don't think they've ever done like 9. That's a weird non-round number, and I would be pissed off about it.
Yeah,
9 was the first season, I think, and then it went to 10. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm almost.
Maybe.
I feel like it was 10. I feel like it was 10 both.
Are you sure?
Both of them.
I felt like that we got an extra episode last season, but
Maybe
I
it
could
was.
be wrong.
Maybe the first season was 9 plus a reunion, which made it 10.
Maybe.
Could
Yeah,
be.
that could
Because
be.
we got a reunion after the first season, but not the second season.
By the way, they should give us a reunion for this season. I feel like
Please.
we're going to miss out if we don't get a reunion. I'm sure Devon's available. Get her on the phone. Bring it.
Oh, heck
I mean,
yes.
everybody loves her to do the reunion. Okay, so obviously they go back to the house. There's quite a bit that happens in this time here. We start seeing a bit of Sylvia. She is on a call with his son, his stepson. She gets to talk a little bit about, home, and we get to see her be a parent and be a mom, and like take the game aside and what you think about her in the game. I actually think she's a really strict and cool mom. I was like, she was holding him accountable. You better do your homework. You better get your grades, Don't try and tell me you're doing well at home if you're not doing well at home. I actually quite enjoyed it. It made me like Sylvia a little bit more because she looks like a good mom.
I think she's possibly a great mom, but then I didn't understand how her reaction was to Kellyanne being really excited for doing a puzzle. Like, saying like, I'm coming for your neck. Everything that you do gets under my skin. And I'm like, if this was your son that like has really had a hard time doing puzzles, and they worked really hard, and they calmed themselves down, they were able to overcome something that they have always had trouble doing, would you be like, it gets under my skin, the fact that you're so excited over the fact that you overcame something? So I mean, I do agree that she definitely showed that she's a really great mother figure, but it also didn't translate with her personal relationships with how I felt that she treated Kellyanne. I didn't think she had any compassion or empathy.
Yeah, that one spot really made me like Sylvia. I mean, I've been liking Sylvia because she's been on my team. If she fell to me and she's been winning so much, I was like, this is the steal of the draft. She's probably going to make it to the finals. She's going to probably get at least me more points going into this because she's absolutely raking in the points. And then this episode, she just was like, she was like going all over the place with these comments towards Kellyanne, talking about wanting me to shoot myself in the face if I ever did this, step on Kellyanne's throat because she sent me into the elimination. It just seemed really seemed like over the line in some of these comments.
I feel like I'm going to be like, on my complete own island here again. As per usual. I loved it. I loved everything Sylvia gave us this season.
I think it's fine, but it's just a little hypocritical.
I know, but it's exciting to watch. I love seeing people being hypocrites. I love seeing the entertainment value that it brings to the show. So, like for me, seeing this rivalry between Kellyanne and Sylvia develop right in front of our screens, I'm like, yes, bring them back for rivals. Like, have this Kellyanne Sylvia deal. Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. Sylvia, coming into the season, I was extremely low on her. Like, I mean, that's why she was the last pick in the draft for Drew. None of us rated her high. She could not go any lower in my estimations of what I thought she would be able to do this season, and she's only gone up. So I'm not saying she's the player of the season. Well, there's a case for her to be the player of the season based on how much she's won. It's between her and Kayla at the moment for the females. They've dominated this season in regards to daily wins, at least, and building a great alliance. But I've really enjoyed seeing her. She's definitely gone up somewhere mid in likability for me of people that I'd like to see again on the show. The one thing I don't want, and I know it's so bad, I'm going to be shading an old school player again. and people are going to come for me because a lot of people love
Come
this
for
person,
him,
but
guys. Whatever he
Kendall,
says,
Kendall,
come
like
for him.
Kendall, I did not enjoy this season.
I
Kendall,
didn't-
for
I didn't
me,
either.
just let's play fair. Let's, everybody do things this way. It's too plain. Like, she's, again, don't miss.
Lovely person.
As a person, love her. This is the game. I'm talking about the game, entertainment, something I want to see, entertaining. I think Sylvia's given me entertainment. So for me, I think she was a blue chip stock for casting to get her on this season. They probably didn't. Well, they knew what they had in her. They knew she would bring some drama. But I think that she outperformed everybody's expectations. I'm sure she even outperformed the season.
So All-Stars 4, Chris is saying All-Stars 4, if Sylvia's on the cast, that's his number one
draft pick.
That's his number one draft
We're holding you to it. You are getting
number one draft pick.
Sylvia.
I said mid-table for me. But listen, she how much points did she get you this season, Drew? Let's have a look at the points. And where does she sit overall? I've got a feeling like she's up there. I feel like she's up there when it comes to points.
I mean, honestly, even with me losing her, she's my number one player at the moment with 48 points.
Where's the mic? Can I drop this mic? Can I drop the mic?
Okay, hopefully it'll break.
Mickey shading me over here saying she's gone.
Actually,
she can't be the player of the season.
She's actually the highest point getter at the moment between all the players still left in this game, like of all three teams. So yeah, she has 48 points. But I mean, that's going to be eclipsed next week. But yeah,
okay, we're gonna have to clip this, but
draft.
Replay it every time you guys tell me how wrong I am. I'll be like, have a look at this. The points have spoken, but obviously by the end of the season, it's going to be.
Why can't likability be a point? Like, we should be able to influence our draft points by like whether or not we like our players.
No, but well, listen, I just wanted to say I think it was fun. It was interesting seeing the scene between her and Kellyanne where they were like talking about let's maybe work together, or like don't come for me. I didn't come for you. I only came for you once.
That was such a fail on Sylvia's part. Like, you're going to the person that you've been coming after this entire game. She won some power, and you do not offer her anything. You do not she's like, well, I didn't to sabotage you this time. And it's like, but you did before, and like you were not making a plan for us moving forward. Like, it was so bad, and I was so happy that Kellyanne didn't feel guilty and like decide to save Sylvia, like that she still like dug her heels in and was like, well, she didn't offer me anything, like I don't care, like I'm throwing you in. I'm like, yes, Kellyanne, stay strong. Bad play, Sylvia, or no play. She didn't play at all.
Yeah, she didn't give her anyone. She was protecting, clearly loyal to her alliance. She was protecting everyone in her alliance. But Kellyanne was never going to go for Naya. She was never going to go for Janae. It didn't make sense to do that. So at the end of the day, you've got to save yourself. Couldn't she have given up Ronnie? Couldn't she have given up like someone on the outskirts? Like anyone?
Like, if you're making a plan this close to the final, like maybe she should be thinking about chipping away at the treehouse. You know what I mean? And being like, hey, like let's make a deal. I won't come for you next round, or like if you don't, whatever, make something. I don't know what she would have to say for this particular round, but like do something, throw somebody from the treehouse under the bus. Who cares at this point? Like, the only person you're really loyal to is Kayla. Like, everybody else you just met. So I think that she could have maybe made a deal.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're going to make a move, you would want someone like Kellyanne in the finals if she freaks out at puzzles. I mean, Sylvia is, or has shown this season, that she's better at the puzzles. She might not be better at like the physicality or the endurance, but she is better at puzzles. So, I mean, if you're Sylvia, why not make a move? Be like, Veronica's a 3-time challenge champ. Ronnie's a 2-time challenge champ. I mean, why don't we try to go after them? Anybody but Kayla at this point, and I'll ride with you. Let's be 3 strong and let's ride this thing out. And maybe we could take out another big person like John A or something, because she's also very strong and she won last season. Like, that's the play that you do to keep yourself safe and who cares if it leaks out? Because then you could be like, Kellyanne hates us. We hate her. So she's just trying to tell you something that's not true. If she goes back and tells Veronica, oh, Sylvia told me your name and you should be thrown up on the block. It's like, oh, she's lying kind of thing. I mean, it's an easy way to just lie to everybody, but nobody does it. So it's just weird.
You can't save everyone, and you've got it's funny how, there's this whole scene earlier in the season where it was Junaid, wasn't Sylvia in hindsight, but they were talking about if you don't have power, you don't have the ability to dictate where the vote's going to go. And Sylvia kind of tried to dictate where the vote was going to go. It was never going to work. Just wanted to bring up here Russell Muscle TV in the chat saying this is going to be the second best TNT podcast for the night. For those of you who are around, Russell Muscle TV has got a great YouTube channel. He talks about Survivor. He's got really, really good content. He is on a mission to become the most subscribed Russell on YouTube for Survivor that talks about Survivor. So he's targeting Russell Hans and trying to surpass him. Great friend of the channel. We will be talking about Survivor themes after this podcast a little bit later on at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you do watch both shows, grab a coffee, get something in between and come back and check that one out as well. It is going to be a lot of fun. Lovable Nikki doesn't want to hear anything that I say in regards to Sylvia. She's not interested. Dolores is saying, I thought you were supposed to lose like 100 points if your player gets eliminated. Well, if that's the case, I would have been long out of this, Dolores. Like I would have just quit while I was behind. If that happened.
Do you ever even get to 100 points, Chris? I'm just
Jeez, I would be like minus 450 by now. King Butler says, I enjoy these contents. God bless to you all. Thank you so much. It is because of you guys in the life that we really enjoy. Like even Drew came in here tired and he's full of energy right now because you guys are giving us this positive vibes while we're talking about a show that we love. We really enjoy having you guys here.
I need to say something though, that the shocking part of that I experienced watching this episode, and this was when the elimination was happening. So we already saw one shot Nia go, and she gets it in, and that was like I was screaming because like that was so amazing, and like I was just happy to see like Nia do super well. But I was really cheering for Derek. Like really cheering for him. I wanted Derek to win so badly. And that's something like people could probably like clip of me like, Derek, you can go, Derek, come on. Like I was really fangirling over like Derek beating MJ. So that was the shock of the episode for me, is that I was cheering there.
I was shocked because to be honest, like, yeah, I mean, Derek just for me has just been such a fail in these All-Star seasons in recent times. So he came into this, I had low expectations. When we saw that it was going to be a maze, I was low expectations of him. He struggled all over the place trying to get that ball into the mouse hole. And like,
not smoothing out the sand.
Exactly. I was like, why are you not smoothing out the sand? And it's the ball's bopping all over the place. The guy clearly just does not stop to think at all. Like he is like a wrecking ball. Like anything physical, anything about athletic ability, he's going to win and he's going to do well. But he is like, I think how both Drew, you and me probably perceived Brad to be, which is just this freak of nature, this force. But we're seeing a different element to Brad's game, I feel like, this season, and maybe even last season to a degree, where he is getting better at doing puzzles or, maths and different stuff out there. He's actually got other elements to his game. But Derek, to me, seems to be still, even up until this point, very one-dimensional, I would say, in the way that he approaches the game. Still a fun character to have. Again, as a character, I love him, but as an overall challenge champion, I just don't have faith that he can win this thing again. Like, I feel like his best days are gone.
Yeah, from what Chantel said, which is a spot-on description, he's like, for those of everybody who has seen Top Gun Maverick, it's exactly Maverick's advice he gives to Rooster, which is, don't think, just do. And that's exactly what Derek does when he gets into elimination. He just doesn't think, he just does. And he just goes with it. And that it works out for more so the physical eliminations. But when it comes down to friggin' anything else, he's a frantic mess who just yells in the confessionals over and over and over again.
How did you guys feel about him celebrating at the end? Like, that was like probably the first time that I wasn't that annoyed. There's a lot of people that were so annoyed by it, but like Adrian, I wasn't annoyed.
Like Adrian, I found it too much for me personally. I was like, listen, like there's a way to win. There's a way to win. But again, it's entertainment. It's entertainment. I'll give him that. But I felt like he was just over the top, and it's not like he completely dominated MJ. It took him forever to finish that.
But the thing is, though, when you're called down, like they called you down because he thinks you're a layup and that he could easily beat you. So I like the rubbing it in his face a little bit, that like the smallest guy in the house right now that you thought you could take down easily, that just beat you. And so I might be a little bit obnoxious myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that there's a point
I'll
where it
allow it.
becomes over the top because
Yes.
when he goes, give me those stars, or yeah, I won kind of thing, and then maybe does a victory lap, it's fine. But then he was like continuously getting to MJ's face, kept on running around, and then kept on grabbing at his shirt and being like, give me those. I was like, oh my gosh, how annoying, dude. Like, just go up there. You won. We got it. It's like, my gosh, it was very cringy to me. Like every time
It
I watched
was
this episode,
cringy, but like
which was
I'm letting him have it.
I only watched it 3 times this week. It was such a good episode. I only had to watch it 3 times, but every time I would just like have to look away from the screen at least once during his celebration. I was like, oh no, please stop.
Were you mad when Kellyanne was like, bye? I was like,
No.
yes, Kellyanne, send her home.
Well, there's people who loved it, people who were 50-50 on it, as everything. When it comes to all things the challenge, listen, he's living his best life. He went home early last season, came back this season with something to prove, and the adrenaline was pumping, and that was how he celebrated. But for me, the more interesting, I feel like, elimination was seeing Sylvia go down there against someone like Naya, who has been really undercover this whole season. Like, I mean, Baby Ice started this live by saying, hey, finally we got some points, and Baby Ice, you're right, I've been waiting on that pick for a long time, but it's paid off, we've got a little bit of points here. But I was very nervous when Naya went down there because I felt like she hasn't been like the vocal point of the story this season. Sylvia's had a massive edit. I was like, oh no, how is she going to perform in the puzzles? I don't know if she's great at doing this maze, but she really stepped up and did really well. She actually ended up sinking that ball in her very first attempt. Were you guys as impressed by Naya going down there and really stepping up when she needed to?
I was like, yes, Naya. I'm like, what's the song? Oh, Nana. Yes, Naya. But I think that she had a really strong episode in general. I love the fact that she was like telling Kellyanne what Sylvia was saying about her. Like, like sometimes we don't want the gossipy things to happen, but I was like, you gain some like social capital and like gain some insurance from Kellyanne and start kind of building something that like has trust with her. And like, yeah, feed Sylvia's bowl over to Kellyanne, especially with her being in power. So I was really happy with how she was positioning herself in this episode. And she was shocked that when she was called down. I was worried that she wasn't going to be able to get into game mode and like perform really well. But it shows that she is an athlete. She must be an athlete to be able to turn that switch on and get that supreme focus level that we talk about and being able to execute in the way that she did. I was very happy for it, very impressed. And I was loving the fact that Sylvia changed her mind on what she was going to do again. And she decides to call down Naya, hoping to get her off her game. And it didn't work at all.
So, yes, 100% to what everything Chantel says. I don't have to add anything to what she said because I was 100% so happy that Naya did something. She took care of business, even being blindsided. She just got there, focused up, and did it. I will say that somebody in my comment section let me know, I think it was in Tiny Table Talk, let me know that John A, when everybody was walking into the elimination, John A made the comment loud enough for Sylvia to hear it, saying like, oh yeah, I did this one before to the puzzle. And so she said, oh, I've done this puzzle before, putting it into Sylvia's mind like, okay, John A is really good at puzzles. Now she's done something like this before. And it's like, do you not have Paramount Plus? Do you know that this really hasn't happened on the challenge ever? Like, come on now. But she said like, oh, I've done this one before. So it played into the mental game of like, okay, well, maybe John A was just kind of like throwing a little like, just throwing for a dumb pass to be like, let's see if this will work kind of thing.
It's good. That's good. I'm impressed by that. Like, just like,
Yeah.
let me say something to make her quiver in her boots. Yeah.
Well, for me, Janae is just continuing to impress. Like this season, by she's had to go down there once. She got her stars. She's still able to somehow find herself not in an elimination when she should be thrown down there often because she's a champion of this game. She's won it once before. No matter the circumstances of how they won that. She is coming in with the same target that MJ had coming into the season. And she's on her way to yet another final, unless someone can take her out. And if she does get there, I think being one of the few people at the moment that have recently won this thing and know what's coming, I feel like she could go again. She could do it again. And just this political game that she's playing, her little bits of, throwing them off right down there. If there's two players right now from All Stars that I would endorse to go and play Survivor based on what I've seen this season, it would be Jonnae, because I think she would kill it, and it would be Brad. That's it. I would love to see both Brad and Jonnae, because Brad did that puzzle. His kick was nearly as impressive as Michelle Fitzgerald's kick on the same puzzle in her season. So I'd like to see it. I don't know how you would be a physical challenge, and the alpha guys get targeted very, very soon in Survivor these days. But I'd love to see them make that jump over to another franchise. So we're getting a lot of players from Survivor coming over to play the challenge. When do we get the challenge players playing Survivor? And if that happens, who else from this season? Because I've always said Wes would do well in Survivor, but I also think he would have one of the biggest targets.
Who doesn't complain?
Well, I have heard that
you don't want a whiny player.
Well, I will say that I've heard, if we're just talking about CBS shows, I've heard like Bananas wants to play Big Brother. So does Devin. Made the announcement that he would kick butt in Big Brother if he was on that season. And I think Leroy put in his hat saying like, I wouldn't mind doing Big Brother at some point, type of thing. So
Bananas, yes, Devin.
Yeah. So that's what I've heard from like other players saying that they would want to make a transition onto a different CBS show and maybe play. But nobody, I think, has really said anything about Survivor. I don't remember anybody else saying Survivor.
No one wants to go out there and starve, because Bananas got doesn't he have the experience of having played the island? And that was a season where they kind of had like a Survivor element to it.
Yeah, it was like
in charge of the food.
It was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of Survivor game. It was like a weird hybrid.
I remember I was excited for that season because I thought it was going to be kind of a merge between Survivor and the Challenge, but they got it all wrong. That's why they probably never did it ever again.
Yeah.
But I was really hopeful, but in the beginning.
Can you imagine like Brad at the end of a Survivor season? Like if he's going in with like a full beard, what's going to happen by the end of that season? I feel like the longer your beard gets, the slower it grows though. So he might be all right. He'll just look exactly the same as he did in the beginning of the season. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there's been a few people with facial hair, but I don't feel like they've ever gone really deep into the game when they've played it.
That should be your next like video that you make. It's like, how long do the bearded people go, and does it matter how long your beard is as to what you place in Survivor?
I thought you were going to say do like a fantasy cast next of players that from the challenge could make the swap over to Survivor or something like that. Which I'm sure at some point.
I think I want to see the
beard one would be interesting. But I feel like I would have to have Drew on there with me. Like he's got the most impressive beard between the two of us. So, I would need his expertise for a podcast such as that, Drew. All right. So looking at this episode, I think we've pretty much touched on all of the main points. Is there anything else that sort of came up that you guys wanted to touch on, or should we get into the points for this week? And Drew, you can talk us through how everybody did.
Points.
Yeah, we could do the points now, because I can't think of anything else. I was going to bring up like John A was talking to like we've seen her talking to more to like Kellyanne and Nia this episode, where it was them coming back from the daily challenge. And then when Sylvia was picked, John A was in the room with everybody, and she asked like Wes, like, who would she pick? And Wes was like, most likely you. So I just thought that was interesting that we're actually seeing John A kind of like being more social with everybody in the house, just adding up to her social game.
I wonder what's going to happen now, though, that MJ's not going to be there, because I wonder if she's going to be better, like, and be able to hide better, or like, you think so? Yeah. I can see that happening, or I could also see her not having, like, she hasn't really been, I don't remember how she was in season 1, but alone in the game in a while. And so I'm wondering if I'm curious to see how she
next episode we see Wes going in there, he's walking up there, he's like, I know I can't fill the role of MJ for you, but I will do my best. I'm a little bit of a different player, but if you want me to be your MJ for the rest of the season, I'll do it. I 100% think Wes is going to go in there just like he did with the Durrell situation, and he's going to make a case for it, because we saw a little bit earlier in the season Janae saying she wanted to work with Wes, and she spoke to MJ about that. So I think somewhere, like, why do we see these little things like earlier in the season if it's not going to come back in a full circle? And she's like, oh, now I need to work with Wes because I don't have that
Is she
guy.
gonna win a second
aligns.
time with Wes? Wow,
And then-
that could be cool.
And then
That'd
he
be cool.
rubs his like bald head and goes, "Oh, you can't braid my hair, but you can braid my beard if you really want to."
Wes
Is that in
just
your
before we-
fantasy or does that actually happen?
Well, Wes has been funny enough just since we've touched on him. Like we've hardly spoken about him this whole recap. He's been very quiet. Like I've been surprised for a character of his caliber not to get more content. The only content he get this whole episode was the bromance, which is
I mean, it's pretty
interesting.
good.
It's good, but it's like you expect, like you expect Wes to be a little bit more involved, But maybe him not doing too much at this stage is a very good sign because you don't want to over strategize either. All right,
Pretty
Drew,
much.
we're going into the points. Let us know where everybody is sitting at.
All right, so in third spot is Team Chris, with Jordan, Kellyanne, and Nia. Both Kellyanne and Nia getting major points, where Jordan was kind of like tame this episode, but Jordan still is your top player with 40 points. You actually went up what looks to be 36 points from 146 to 182. Wow. And then you have, jumping into the 200s, is Chantel, Team Chantel, with her number one score being Veronica with 41.5 points. Again, Veronica was a little bit quiet this episode. Brad gets you another win, another 5 points. So he's now at 38, very close to that 40 spot. You went up. Wow, is that true? You only went up like 23 points this episode, even with Brad winning? Well, you do have Nehemiah, who even said it himself that he is not in this game, really, and that he does the little like shadow going into the mist kind of thing. So really stinks about Nehemiah, because I really wanted to see him bring that intensity from last season, and he is just reverting way back to his not wanting to be doing much in this game.
But at least he's getting further, because he usually goes out a little bit earlier when he was playing his old style. So
that is true. He is going to have to pick up and win something at some point if he wants to stay out of elimination, because if he keeps not doing,
he's kind of next.
He's going to get thrown in. It's just
he's going to go against Derek probably next week. Like that's probably what's happening.
Well, that would be incredible. That would be Challenge Mania.
Almost as bad as Derek saying that, but and I don't see a way for Nehemiah at the end here to, I feel like win almost, like going like he's gonna, who's this two ride or dies at this point? It's what, Wes and Brad is kind of what's being sold to us as the two people he's working with. Like if he goes against those two guys in the end, I feel like they're both super capable. And yeah, I mean Wes or Brad, I would say in that case would probably win it. So I don't feel great about his chances to win this season at this point. Last season he was aligning with the right people because he had Tech and he had LT, who both I think he would have beaten at the end. He would have beaten those guys.
Yeah. And
so did you not want to see what what Drew's points were?
Oh, sorry.
No,
I completely lost track of time. Sorry, guys.
I did want to throw this out there though, that with Nehemiah, with Brad and Wes, they are both more recent winners than Nehemiah. I think he won season 15 and Brad won season 20, and then Wes's newest most recent season was 24. But he also was in the finals for 33 and got third place. So I mean, it's gonna be a tough battle. And then if you throw in Jordan also in there, if Jordan's in the finals as well, I mean, that's just like Nehemiah's punching in fourth place. I'm sad to say. And then I finally lose two players. I lose Sylvia and MJ, both of whom had a respectable scores, of Sylvia having my highest point total as of right now, heading into episode 7 with 48 points. MJ gave me 38.5 points, both being my bottom tier players. But right now, out of the active players that I have, John A is at 46.5. She is incredible. And my lowest player is Ronnie with only 21 points. I really could have used that win this past week episode from her. But man, one block.
Didn't need it. Thank you.
One block. So I went from 241.5 points to 295.5 points. I got about 44 points from this week's episode. Yeah, I'm expected to lose more players, though. I have a feeling that Ronnie's time is going to be coming up soon. It's hard not to think that Wes and John A wouldn't see another elimination, possibly Kayla, if Kellyanne and Nia can keep on winning. And John A was like this to Derek in the preview, saying, I don't like you, Derek. I'm going to target you. And so far this season, whoever's messed with John A and her game has gone home. Beth starting up that rumor, gone. Sylvia gives her the sabotage, gone. Derek takes out MJ, and now John A saying, I want to take out Derek. Sorry, Derek, but it sounds like you're going to be in a hellstorm soon.
John A, the Reaper of All Stars at this stage. We definitely want to see how that plays out. But you've been killing it this season, Drew. You've had a stacked team here right from the start.
But we've now learned what the issue is. It's the shot for shot. And so from this point forward, we're going to really see the testing, because we're all going to be on an equal playing field with like potential knowledge of what goes on this season. So just saying.
I think I did that shot for shot after the trailer was already out. Anybody could have watched the trailer, not just me.
Well, I mean, yes, you're that is true, but I didn't watch it because I was trying to, go in with like
don't hate the player, hate the game.
It was very spoilery.
But from this point forward, we aren't going to be doing it before.
I need to be doing more homework. The way I go into these drafts, sometimes I take it too easy, but I'm going to be more competitive, I feel like, in these next ones. We've just, for those of you who are also going to be checking out the Challenge USA, we've just picked our teams for the Challenge USA. That video dropped earlier this week as well, and we did that prior to the season completing because we wanted to make sure that there's no chances of anybody saying, hey, you guys have been spoiled, because we don't know. We don't check those stuff. I see people commenting sometimes, hey, you guys have clearly been spoiled and things like that. I don't want to watch spoilers. I don't find spoilers fun. I don't want to know what's going to happen next, because I feel like it takes away from me sort of going on the journey with what the editors want us to see. And also I like trying to decipher for myself who I think is going to win the season. So
we're experts. We can't be experts if we know the facts. Like, we want to see if like what our knowledge is good enough to be able to like navigate what's going on in the game.
Well, a good example, Chantel, is that season 1 for All Stars, you won with your last male pick, which was Yes. I mean, if that doesn't tell you, we don't know what the hell's going on. That specific one tells you, because he was the last male pick. None of us thought Yes would win that season, and he ended up winning it. So obviously the Challenge USA, we've done that one. That's in the books. We're also going to be pre-recording very soon, probably this weekend. You guys won't see it for quite a bit still. We're going to do the Challenge 38 draft as well before it's finished and everything, because again, we don't want to know anything. We won't look into it either later on as well, because again, that would just spoil the season for us. But we're doing these things earlier than usual, so at a lot of our draft picks now, you might not see the official pictures for them up when we're doing it. Is because of the fact that we're just getting way ahead of the game when we do our draft picks now, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, there's a few people left for both myself and Chantel still this season. I think the real battle, I really have to say, I feel like the real battle at this stage is who's going to get second place, and that could still go either way, because there's about 20-point difference, I believe, between the two of us. Maybe we get surprised, and one of our people, I mean, I still feel very positive about Jordan. Like, I still think Jordan can pull this thing off. I still feel good about Kellyanne. Now that she's shown that she can be calm, maybe that can work in a way. And then Naya, I guess as well, has just shown that she can do well when it comes to it. So for the people that you guys have got left, let me just bring that back up. Chantel, how are you feeling about your team? Do you think, I think Brad's got the winner's edit at this point. He's dominating. I feel like he's the person I missed out on this season. He could be the winner.
Yeah, I'm so shocked that Brad might be the winner of this season. Right now, out of the people that have left, I think that I have my money on him. I do think Veronica is probably going to make the final, but I don't think that she's going to have a shot at winning with all the women that are left. I just don't think that she can beat any of them. But I kind of think that she, at this point, is going to get to the final, because if I was in the game, I'd want her to be in the final as well, because I definitely think that physically I could beat her. So right now, all my money is on Brad to get me some points, win something else, please, Brad. Get the win for the whole season. I need to take down Team Drew with the Beardo. Beardo Brad has to win and allows me to beat Drew. So that's what I want.
Drew, how are you feeling? You've basically at this stage, it's yours to lose. How are you feeling about the team you've got?
I'm feeling pretty solid, especially with my first two picks of Wes and John A. I just looked back at our draft board and I put everybody in order of where we draft them, and I had a shot at Brad. I decided to take Mark. I think Mark was a safer choice, especially with how I pegged Brad. But man, That stinks that I missed out because I've been so jealous ever since we drafted and how
so
Brad just
many
keeps winning.
points, Drew. Are you jealous of my itty bitty Brad points?
Because I like Brad right now. Besides in episode 4. Episode 4, Brad can go sit in a corner, but everybody else.
But episode 4, Brad gave us that epic win with Wes, and that was a pretty good moment. So
that was a good moment for me, for getting that win with Wes and taking out another one of Chris's players. And yes, I believe. But I feel really good. I feel really good with my team. I think Wes and John A, even Mark, are really strong competitors. I don't think Mark has too many enemies left in this game. Maybe Jordan would be his only one that he's not very close with. Everybody else, he seems pretty tight. Maybe not Nehemiah either, but Mark seems pretty in tight. I think my bottom 3 would have the biggest targets on their back, with Kayla in the Treehouse Alliance losing out her number 1 with Sylvia, Derek being thrown into elimination. We'll probably see another one. And Ronnie's also in the Treehouse, but doesn't have a lot of social capital. Even in the Treehouse, we heard from Veronica. So I'm more worried about my other 3 than, say, my top 3.
So, Adrian, I'm gonna have to go back and look definitively. But if I were just to look at the cards, if I remember correctly, Brad does seem as though he would win the game. I don't remember what card he has. I'll have to go back and look again. And Kayla for the women had the best card for winning. Doesn't mean that the win's going to happen, but when I was looking at all the different cards, those 2 had the most favorable winning cards. After the season, I'll be able to kind of understand maybe what the cards were telling me, so I can do a better maybe prediction the next time. But those 2, just as the cards are, had the best 2 male-female cards. So
now, guys, I've also put a bit of a, I guess, poll up this week on my community page on the Nullified Take. So if you're watching this on Reality Realness with 3 S's, jump onto my channel, the Nullified Take, as well to take part in that poll. And I asked, who do you guys think has got the best team for the Challenge USA? And so far, I can say, Chantal, you're leading with 46 votes, 46%. I'm in second with 30%, and Drew, you've got 24%. So people are loving the picks that you've made for the Challenge USA. So maybe if you don't win this one, there's always next season. That's the fun with this.
Can we start putting some money on it now? Can we? I need some stakes.
Like you want to start putting some money. I'll put some money on it. The only thing we need to work out is how the hell do I pay you guys from New Zealand? Like we got to work that out. But
PayPal.
Yeah, PayPal will be the best. We can do it. We can put a little bit of money.
I love that you're already paying me.
Like,
how am I going to pay you guys?
Like logistics. I got to think about the logistics here because I'm like on the other side. I'm the opposite side in the future, of the world. Saturday over here already. So, I got to like try and go back into the past and send you some money, transfer you some money if you do win this.
I'm excited.
No, it's been fun. And also, once again, Drew, your, whole point system that you came up with for the challenge, that's a lot of fun. I've been getting a lot of people reaching out to me. Like this week has been overwhelming with the DMs. I love people DMing and getting involved. And there's been so many people that have reached out to say, hey, love what you guys do. I don't know if you guys get it as well, but people saying really love the drafts, love the way that the point system works. And I'm always like, can't take any credit for the point system. That's Drew's baby that he brought to the channel, and we're going to use that same point system, maybe slightly modified now, for Survivor South Africa Return of the Outcasts this season as well, and we're doing our draft pick for that as well. So that's going to be exciting. On the whole subject of talking about other things that are happening at the moment, Drew, will come over to you. What's happening on your channel? There's been so much challenge stuff dropping. I'm sure it is tiring, but we get to talk about the show that we love with people that appreciate it. So what do you have coming up over the next week?
So for the rest of June, I'll be just putting out content, same as normal. Power rankings on Saturday, endurance on Sunday. Monday is going to be a clip. Tuesday, I have something actually very special coming out, hopefully this Tuesday. I'm doing a collaboration with another creator, and we're going to be talking about the Challenge USA. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And then Wednesday is going to be another review and recap, Tiny Table Talk on Thursday. And Fridays, I've now kind of been kind of chilling out. I have to give myself at least one day off, and I'm hoping to catch up on a lot of my comments. I feel really bad not putting out, not answering every single comment and getting behind in videos. And then saving whatever I was going to do on Fridays for when I start cutting down in July, because once Challenge USA starts, that's when I'm going to cut down to 4 videos a week, and I'll put out more of those like 12-minute clip videos and longer form videos. So I'm looking forward to when in July I can cut down to 4 videos and have like a little bit more breathing room and flexibility. But right now I'm putting out like 6 days a week, and I'm having a good time. But also I need sleep, and there's sports now, and I just waste time staying up till midnight, and the team I'm rooting for loses, and I'm like, screw you, I should have just went to bed.
That's happened to me many a times. I watch rugby, right? So, and a lot of the rugby that I enjoy is from South Africa and in the UK. So the South African teams always play in the UK competitions. It is the exact opposite time to over here in New Zealand. So I have to like get up at like 3 a.m. or stay up until like 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning to watch the games, and then just for them to lose an hour later. And you're like, why did I do this to myself? My whole next day is going to be ruined. Chantel, coming over to you for content coming up on Reality and Realness with 3 S's. I believe I saw something, a live stream this week for Love Island. Love Island is back up, is it?
Were you hiding in the chat, but you didn't want to say anything?
No, I was working. It was like the middle of the day, and I was browsing through YouTube, and I saw that you were live, and I thought about jumping in there for a second, and I was like, I don't know anything about Love Island. I'm just going to be an absolute fool to even get in there. But yeah, I just noticed that you were live streaming. So what else do you have coming on?
Well, definitely not watching or talking about any sports. I don't even know what sports are happening right now. But yes, you are correct. I realize it's now going to be the summer of love for sure. So right now, Tamika, Francis and I, she's from Entertainment in Color. We've been going live talking about Love Island UK daily. So Sunday to Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, going live talking about the most recent episode that aired like an hour before. So going live pretty regularly. And then we know that the Bachelorette is starting up soon. So I know that that's coming. But right now it's only 2 things. So just Love Island UK. And then on Thursdays at noon Eastern, doing the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And then here with you guys. And then the challenge on Wednesdays. And my watch party Wednesdays at 2. That's it. That's all. That's it. So not that much going on, but things are starting to ramp up, as I keep on saying. Quick question. Oh, I thought it was me.
I like that you're like, I like how you're like, oh, I'm only doing a couple of things, but one of those things is 5 days a week or 7 days a week. Like
6 days, six. Yes. 6 days a week. Yes, going live. At least it's like if I bunch them together, it just like sometimes it's too long. So I'm like, at least it's like an hour or like a little less than an hour. Like I think it's a lot more accessible for me to be able to do that. But yeah, not doing that craziness. Wednesdays, my challenge day, and then Fridays, my challenge day. So.
Yeah.
But
King Butler is asking, quick question. Is Wes the best if he does win this final? In my heart, Wes is always the best. I just love seeing Wes on the screen. And he's definitely a legend. He's definitely a Mount Rushmore player of this game. It is hard for him, in my opinion, if you're purely looking at stats, to beat both CT and Bananas, who would still be above him because they've got the entertainment value, but they also have the titles to rival or match that. And then also, when you look at All Stars compared to the main show, I do think it's easier to win. I have to say it. I do think it's easier to win than the main show because it's a lot shorter, and you're also going up against some people who are not in the same shape as the people that play the main show now. But Wes is always best in my heart. That's kind of how I feel about that.
Did either of you watch the MTV Video Awards or Movie Awards? You did? What did we miss? I know that CT was there with Lily, and I think he presented something.
Yeah,
but
he
I haven't watched it
presented
yet.
the unscripted reality show awards, and then he also led into a short little view of the MTV Untold History.
That.
The 6-part, 1 hour each documentary, kind of giving an overview of the
What
challenge.
Are we going to be doing about
it
that?
meant.
How are you covering it, Drew? Are we doing something together?
I'm probably just going to just talk about it, probably maybe through Patreon, or if we're going to chat about it at Total. I suspect it's just going to be a huge gloss over of the bigger moments and try to like get people who are watching the Challenge USA who's thinking about coming over to the MTV Challenge.
It's very smart.
Kind of like just giving a nice overview of like, this is what you kind of miss, but you can still watch all the stuff on Paramount Plus. But here's all the things you could have missed, all the cool stuff we do. And if you want to check it out, it's over here, type of thing, and try to get people not have to be like, I have to watch how many seasons before
I mean, they
watch
should.
38?
If you're going to be a fan, you need to watch all of them. It's just saying. Chris,
Well,
have
it's
you
a good
done
entry
episode
point,
season
but-
1 yet?
Yeah, I've watched
I'm
season
kidding, I'm
1.
kidding, I'm kidding.
What are you talking about? Come
I'm
on.
just fucking
trying
you.
to throw some shade to me. Hey, I would say I've watched 70% of the challenge now. Like probably about 30% that I still need to catch up on. I'll catch up on it. It's just the problem that I have is that I've been podcasting since December nonstop until now, and there's like no off season
Yeah.
because there's one show after the other.
Welcome to our life.
Jeez. Yeah, so like Drew only has $5. I only have X amount of time each week that I can spend on this with having a full-time job. But this channel will remain to be a challenge and Survivor and Amazing Race channel. Like I said last week, I don't want to go wider than that, not at this stage, unless
Great.
down the line, it grows to a point where I'm like, wow, I can do this full-time. But that's like just the dream at this stage. We are on the way to 1,000 subscribers. So
How close are you
check
now?
out
You at 800 yet?
786. So thank you so much. Last week when we did this, I think I was
Nice.
getting close to 750. So it's continuing to grow. I really appreciate the support that everybody's given me. I try and reach out to as many people as I can when they message me as well. I really, really appreciate the support. And the fact that you guys give us feedback, it lets us know what you like and don't like, and we continue to grow. And sometimes we will piss you off because we're 3 individuals.
You
three
will.
very
Sorry,
different-
I'm just kidding.
like I loved it when Chris came onto the USA draft that we did, and she said the chaos of Chris picking Ben in first spot is exactly what I expected. I'm predictably unpredictable.
Yeah.
I give you guys what you want, okay, on these drafts. But there's a lot happening on this channel over the next week. We are going to be doing a lot of Survivor, Return of the Outcast content. Our channel has officially, again, been given the ability to do exit interviews for that season by the local broadcasting network. So very grateful to Leru Buta, the executive producer of that show, for giving us the access to that. So we'll continue to have that. We'll continue to be doing the challenge content. There's a lot of challenge. Obviously, this season is getting closer and closer to the end, but then the USA is going to happen, and after that, 38. I know that there's a lot of things happening with Australia. I'm pretty sure that's going to be filmed after or at the same time as 38. So continue to subscribe for more content on the challenge. And if you do like Survivor, jump in a little bit later on as myself and Russell Muscle TV, who's a great YouTube creator as well, as we talk about Survivor themes. We're going to talk everything themes. It should be a lot of fun, and hopefully we get some people in there that can throw things at us as well as we talk about that. So, and I've got a very special guest next week. I'm going to be pre-recording with this person. She's very well known in the international Survivor community. Shannon Gus is going to be on the channel. She's going to be a guest, and we're going to be talking about international crossover season between Survivor US, Australia, and South Africa. It's a great topic to have her on. I feel very honored to have someone of that magnitude that works so much in different international franchises. I believe she is now a special consultant to the South African franchise. She is someone that is a presenter on Channel 10 in Australia for Survivor Australia, and is part, obviously, of the same family that you're a part of, Chantel, the RHAP family. So it's great to have her on the podcast next week as well. That won't be live; it'll be pre-recorded, but we'll probably
Be wary,
drop that towards
though.
the end of last week.
I love Shannon, but she talks a lot. So you're going to have a long podcast. It's going to be at least 4 hours, that podcast. I don't know if you saw that she did like the #1 season of Survivor with Rob's podcast and Chappelle. And I think they got to 7 hours for that podcast. So I definitely know that with this topic, and you already love to talk, that you guys might have a lengthy one. So just make sure
It's
that
funny.
you have,
She asked me, what's the time frame? So I told her, this is the time frame. She's like, okay, we'll stick to that. So we'll see how it happens. Like, look at us. We were trying to do this in an hour today. We're already 15 minutes over. But thank you guys, everybody, so much. Really looking forward to seeing you guys next week as we talk about episode 7 of the Challenge All Stars 3. Catch you guys next time.